and welcome back. I am so excited for this video because honestly, I wish that I knew these things when I got started in sales and even like a few years in. Like, these are so valuable things that's gonna help you so much inside of the call. Like, if you've been frustrated, if you've been hopping into calls and you're just not aligned, like you don't understand what's going on, you are not closing, and you see these other people, they have better closing rates and they are, getting in deals, maybe they're in your team, whatever, and you're just, or maybe you see these people on Instagram that they just handle these objections, and then you do the same objection handling and it just doesn't work. Like, it's because of these 10 things, and when you learn these 10 things, everything is gonna shift for you. So yeah, quickly before we move on, hi, I'm Yasmin. If you didn't know me for some reason, I have been in sales for 6 years. I've been coaching since 5, and yeah, what I do is I teach sales. So if you are interested in that, click the follow button and ring the bell and whatever you're supposed to do. Yeah, hit the like button too, I guess. And yeah, let's get into it. The first thing is so important, and this is probably why you are stuck and you think that a call has been going so good, and then at the end you just find yourself getting this horrible objection, right? And this is the reason, right? Like, most people think objections happen at the end of the call, but they really don't. You will get signs of the objection. It will come up throughout the call. And you, if you do not realize it, or if you don't know what to look out for, then you will not notice those things. And you're like, oh, well, they technically didn't bombard me with an objection, and therefore there's no objection. And also, like, the limiting belief of objections happen at the end. No, objections grow until the end. As I always say, whatever they think beforehand, after the pitch, it just compounds. So if someone is feeling clarity, they feel very good. After the pitch, they feel even better. But if they have objections, and that's probably what you've seen, like these sneaky little objections that just drops at the end, they just didn't, they weren't born at the end. They were born inside of the discovery, and then after the pitch and the price, it got real and therefore it came out. But it always starts in the beginning. The second thing is so important, and if you are a beginner closer, or even like a year or two in, you definitely need to work on it, and I know it. And that is the fact that silence is like awkward inside of a sales call, and especially if you are a beginner. Silence can feel so uncomfortable inside of a sales call, and it genuinely makes you, like, let's say you get silent and you start over talking. Like, what's gonna happen then? This person will not say anything because you're the one talking. And so you have to learn to be silent. Like, be comfortable with when you ask a question, go silent. Like, wait for the goddamn answer. First of all, some people just need time to think. Like, they need to process the question and then think. But if you're like babbling or asking another, I've seen this where you're saying something, you're asking a question, and then this person gets silent. Maybe they're thinking of what they're gonna answer you, and then you think it as like, well, this person didn't understand my question, and so you like reframe the question, you reframe it, and it's just chaos. So you will be surprised by how much of a difference it will make by just being able to give someone a couple seconds of silence, and they get to think about their own feelings a little bit and then give you a good answer. I actually really like people that pause a couple of seconds to think and then give you answer, because that's not a blurt out whatever I'm feeling answer. It's more intentional, and I like that. The third thing is so important and will actually screw up your close if you do this, and that is, don't ask important questions early on. If you ask a question 5 minutes into the call, and then let's say in another call, you would ask the same question 30 minutes in, you will get two different answers, even though the person is the same. Why does this happen? It's because the further into the call you go, the more trust you get. And if you ask an important question, commitment question, like if you would ask, well, are you ready to do something like this in the 5 minutes into the call? Yeah, like that's why I'm here. I want to try to figure that out. 30 minutes into the call, I'm completely ready to invest in myself. Like there's such a big difference. And that the only thing here is trust. They get trust. You have asked questions, you have done the discovery, and they are feeling more urgency, they're feeling more commitment. And it's a complete different thing. And they trust you now, right? You have authority for, and so please, please, please avoid asking these important questions. And this is why cutting corners when you think that this person is warm, they're already closed, and you want to save some time and you just ask, quite a couple just commit questions and then you want to just get them in. That's why that is so poisonous, because the call needs to happen in its own way, right? And when you ask these important questions right before because you think that they're warm, it doesn't matter how warm a person is. If they don't trust you, they're not going to answer it properly, and they're not going to answer it in the way you want them to anyways. So go through the whole process, don't cut any corners, and yeah, you won't face this problem. Fourth thing is crucial. Don't try to make these objections go away. Like, your job is not to handle an objection or like treat it as if it's a disease and it has to go away. That is not the point of your role. Your job is not to make the objection disappear. That is not what you're supposed to do. You are supposed to make people feel safe enough to tell you the objection. That's all. You need to make someone feel safe enough to tell you the objection. Because the most poisonous objections, or the most dangerous objections, are the ones that this person doesn't tell you. It is the ones you will never hear. Because, and this is why it's so problematic when you're trying to combat this objection, right? And then this person, like, they don't feel safe enough, or maybe sometimes in some ways inside of the call we kind of make them feel guilty, and we think that that's going to push them, right? But instead they don't feel safe being vulnerable with you, and so at the end they don't want to share the objection with you, because your whole thing is, well, I'm trying to handle this objection. You don't handle an objection. Objection is feelings. People will feel them anyways. Your job is to make this person feel safe enough to tell this emotion, to tell this objection to you, so you can overcome it together. That is your job. Do your job. Don't do anything different, because that's not going to lead anywhere. You're trying to handle, and that's why two people can get the same objection but handle it completely differently, depending on the intention they have of understanding, of making them feel safe to share their objection, versus combating an objection. Even if you say the same thing word for word, even, it's going to be so different outcomes. One thing you need to look out for, and this is what I talked about earlier, of like, well, objections, they don't come at the end, they usually grow throughout the call. This is what I mean. Like 5, which is watch certainty, not words. Because you need to look out for when, and which is the kind of the answer of how to do what I previously mentioned, which is like identifying objections early on, which is you listen to how they sound, you listen to the words they use. Well, for example, when they say something like, yeah, I think so, or yeah, or pauses in between, you just see lack of certainty in certain places. You need to look out for that, because that is going to lead to something bigger, right? So you have to identify those, you have to be on the lookout for those, right? Very, very, very important. And this is how you do it. So for example, this person says, yeah, I think so. You think? Is there anything that you're uncertain of? Or I can hear some uncertainty. Would you like to share? Is there anything that you're uncertain about? That is a good way of a little bit of pre-handling, a little bit of, well, you have to identify. That's why you got to be careful. You got to be intentional. You got to listen. The best closers listen. The sixth thing that I see so many closers do is some people are just going to be cold, right? They're not going to just blur out their emotions the second that you ask the question. They're going to say general. And the thing that I see so much is you not being comfortable enough going beyond the surface, asking more clarifying questions, asking questions that leads the answer deeper than just surface level, because we are a bit insecure and we know that this person is a little bit harder to get deeper answers to, so we just kind of stop trying. So let's say someone says, well, I just want to make money. What do you mean by that? Give me an example of what money could bring you, because money is a tool you use to get other things. So what are you looking to get out of money? What will you be able to do or accomplish when you have that money? What is the money gonna allow you to do? There's many different ways to position it, but you just go deeper, ask the question deeper. It's gonna help you so much, and it's gonna make the call so much more raw and being able to go deeper. 7 is something you really have to look out for, because you need to listen when a prospect stops saying I. When they start saying people, or how it is, instead of I feel this way or I have done this way. This is them emotionally distancing themselves from you, and you have to identify that. And again, you can do it kindly, people. I mean, not everyone is gonna do it. Do you feel like this is something that you feel, or just anyone would feel? Just ask anything in lines of people. What do you mean people? It doesn't have to be defensive, it doesn't have to be attacking. It just gives us clarity to be able to identify, and even if you don't handle it at all, just acknowledge, okay, they're trying to distance themselves a little bit in this specific part, which means that they're probably feeling a little bit uncomfortable about it. Why? And yeah, just knowing that will help you and give you a lot of clarity of that. 8 is just a tip for identifying the goal, right? Because you need to be on the outlook for this specific thing the prospect repeats, the one sentence that they keep repeating, right? So whatever they say, I just want stability, or I don't want to waste more time, or I just want something that works, that usually entails something different, or something with more meaning. That's what I mean. So when they say I just want stability, when they say I just want something that works, when we're talking about the offer, that means that there's a certain lack of something that works, right? And we want to identify that. What would define it as work? What do you feel? Do you feel like this could actually work? Asking questions like that to prepare, because again, these things can be objections that come out at the end, so we want to make sure to check these things off. The goal is wanting stability, not wasting more time, wanting something that works, and being able to check those off. Okay, do you feel like this is gonna work? Okay, do you feel like this will give you the stability that you need so that you can achieve X, Y, and Z? Or I don't want to waste any more time. Okay, do you feel like you actually got what you need in order to stop wasting time and being able to do something like this? It is very good to, those things that they keep repeating that they've kind of not had. Do you have it now then? That is a very important thing, because at the end they can always use it again. Usually these people they work in patterns. So if they've said, I just want something that works, or what could it be? Let's say they say, yeah, I just want to make sure that this, I just want to make sure that this works. Yeah, I just want to make sure that there's something that works. That usually is a sign of, you need to dig deeper into that, because it sounds like they have a fear like they have a fear of this being the same, or else they wouldn't repeat it to you. The one thing I see closers doing that cuts their commission and overall makes them lose a deal is trying to solve the problem, the first problem that they give you. That is the worst thing you can do. Because here's the thing, the first objection is rarely the actual objection, as long as maybe they're not financially strained or they actually don't have like any time, which again is not very reasonable. Everyone has the same time. It's not like someone else has 20 instead of 24. But or well, I need to talk with my partner. Like, don't believe the first thing that they throw at you, because that is usually something they say right after the price, right? And they kind of just want to get out of that feeling of pressure, right? And that is something very important you have to keep in mind, because that's gonna make you not be as defensive or as taking it personally, if that makes sense. It's gonna help you relax a little bit and then just be curious, trying to get to the bottom of why this person just blurred out an objection like that, knowing that it has nothing to do with you you don't have to be losing the deal. Sometimes people are just scared and they're just trying to get away, but then when you comfort them, you're going to realize that they're just feeling a bit scared. So being cautious of that, because if you start, well, it's expensive, oh, we have down payment plans, like, do you see that? Don't believe it. Like, try to isolate, figure out what it actually is, and then comfort them. Or if it's a logical object, like if it's genuinely like the finances, try to figure something out, but don't just assume and then just try to solve the first objection that they give you. 10 is arguably the most important thing. This is something that I see almost every single closer that I've trained struggle with, and that is pitching to people that has different options to choose from. Like, confused people, they do not buy. And people that has multiple different ways to go. Like, for example, if someone blurs out, yeah, like I have this part-time job, and then, well, I'm actually looking to get promoted, and then I also applied to studying, and then I also want to do this, right? That is kind of the summary of the discovery, right? Or like the current situation, at least. You have to figure out, and this is where you don't move on into the picture, you don't move on into anything until you figure out which one of those options this person actually prefers and actually wants. Because if this person wants to study and that is like the main goal, unless there's some different reason for them wanting this now, then they're not going to have enough of a want, enough of a desire to move on with this. Same thing as, well, let's say that they're right now they're studying law and they're going to become a lawyer. Okay, but do you want to do that for the rest of your life, or do you actually, like, why are we in this call? Yeah, and then they're gonna explain themselves. Well, I mean, I kind of realized that law is not the way I want to go. Like, if I can manage to make this work, I would rather prefer this. And that's kind of what we want them to say. So very, very important that you clarify if this person has different, even if it is like, well, right now I'm studying full time and I'm working full time. And then I'm also but which one would you want if you could? That's always a question that I ask in this specific position. Like, okay, but so you have these couple of options, X, Y, and Z, right? Which one of, because you have different paths, right? They have different things that you're doing and getting. So essentially different goals. Which one of these would you want to achieve if it would be impossible to fail, right? So the studying full-time to become a lawyer, is that like the end goal? That's what you would want if you knew you couldn't fail? Or is it getting promoted at the job you have now? Or is it actually getting successful with this? They're always going to say, no, I mean, if I knew I couldn't fail, I mean, I would choose this. Why? Because of the flexible hours, because of the X, Y, and Z. Now you have a clear path of desire, one, not three different. So you can actually sell them on it. Because trust me, if you don't do this, it's going to bite you in the ass at the end. Yeah, I just want to like figure out what I want to do because I have all these things on my plate. That's what you're going to get. 10 is actually arguably the most valuable tip of this video. So yeah, but that was it. Remember, it is about objection handling, or even sales. It is about having empathy, being curious, genuinely trying to help this person. It should never be money first, empathy after. It should always be empathy, caring about the person, this person making the right decision for themselves, and then money. Money should never be the priority, because when that is, we get people that scam, we get people that do horrible things with the tool of sales, and we want people to do good things with sales, not manipulate or etc. So always have the right intention and it will go far. All right, girls and guys, I hope that this video was valuable. If you have any sort of question or anything else you've been wondering, comment and I will reply. So yeah, don't forget, if you like this video, to subscribe and hit the like button. And yeah, I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.